because our deepest wounds often reveal our greatest purpose.
Welcome to the Court of Connection. I have Jenny Cord here, who is the host of House of Impact. And I feel like this is incredible timing. I actually just met her in person, and I feel like we're I feel like I've known you forever. I'm telling you, it was so natural, so easy. So welcome to the podcast. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes. So there's a whole host of people out there who don't know who you are. So please start by telling us who you are.
My name is Jenny Cord. I host a self-development podcast called House of Impact. And I basically took the leap to do podcasting in 2024 after doing 7 years of building a business. I was running a consulting agency, and then I realized that what I was doing is not what I truly wanted to do, and my purpose and my calling. So I took the scariest, riskiest leap of faith, and I started the podcast, and I started to put content out there on basically helping people how to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be by literally becoming the person that gets themselves there. Mm-hmm. So I've been able to help thousands with the podcast. It's been a journey of resilience and a journey of keeping yourself grounded while a lot of things are changing in your life. And I wouldn't want it any other way.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think I'm excited about this episode specifically because I think there's so many of us out there that are stuck in 9 to 5, stuck, making money for other people, not living in their dream and purpose, and watching people like you take the leap and go chase their dream and believe in themselves and feel frustrated that they're not doing it, And so I've listened to a lot of your stuff so far, and I'd love to hear about the season leading up to the leap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also want to point out something you said. I don't really particularly think people are stuck. Mm-hmm. I feel people believe they are stuck, and they're stuck in their minds, but there's always a choice. And there's always, it gets to a point in our life, but that's how I journey too, that you've got to make a choice. Because a lot of us, we have the infinite potential. Everyone is we were created by God. We've got the universe. We're not by ourselves. And our strength and our power, it doesn't come from ourselves alone. It comes from God and from what He's created us to do. So a lot of people, they think they are stuck, but that's what they believe. So if you believe something, it will be so. Mm-hmm. So for me, I would love to say to you and to people and to every person that asks about my story, so how was it? We were just going on a walk and then you decided to do a podcast. I would love for that to be my story, but it's not. So unfortunately, I started my podcast when I was the lowest in my life. I was living in Bali with my now ex-partner, and I hit rock bottom with my business. I almost filed for bankruptcy, which I've never done in the past 7 years. I also almost get deported from the UK because I was very close to losing my residency papers that I needed. And I was at such a low point, and I've done therapy. And instead of paying for therapy, I literally borrowed money from my partner, and I started recording the podcast because I needed that bridge of hope of, if other people are living their dream life and their dream and in their purpose, why can I not do it? What do they have that I don't have? So that was my thinking. And then I started recording with them, and I had no name for the podcast. I had my mental health was really bad, and what a lot of people don't know, and you would not be able to tell by just watching the videos on YouTube and listening to podcasts, is that before starting recording, I was bedridden for 6 weeks. I couldn't leave I just was going from bed to sofa, and healthcare in Bali is not the same as healthcare in Europe or in here. And I had a lot of vertigo attacks. So for people that don't know what vertigo attacks is, it's kind of like a mix of panic attacks and anxiety. So it affects your vagus nerve system. And like physically, you from the moment you wake up until the moment you close your eyes, depending on how it is, mine was so severe. I thought I had like something really wrong in my brain at the time. Like the whole thing is spinning. So whenever you get up, you don't even have bonds in you. So that's how I was feeling. That's how I was feeling when I started recording the podcast. So it was not at my best. And again, it's not a story that I would wish I would say just like, oh, I was all joyful. Like I'm afraid and took this leap of faith and I did it. I did it because I needed it. And because I always say this, like it really helped. It saved me, my spirit, my soul, my mental health, because it was going down a path that I was just thinking things I should not be thinking, and I've never had that. And when you're also in a toxic environment, and when you also don't have the financial resources that you had before, because for people that don't know, I experienced both extremes. Before that, I was in a high rise in London. I was making, I think in a day, I made like 20,000 from one con. So I was making a lot of money. And then going from that to being in a relationship that later on became toxic. And I also lost faith and hope and direction for my life. And I was literally in Indonesia, where I was so far from home, even further than I am here. I was in such a point. There's like, there needs to be something else. Like, this cannot be my life. How can I have gone from this high to this very low? This cannot be my life. So I started the podcast, and I recorded 12 episodes in Bali. I had no name, no brand, no money, no nothing. But I was able to bring in people onto a podcast, and then I've launched it the 1st of October 2024 when I was a bit like settled in London, and I was like, okay, God, like, if this is what you want me to do, I'll just do it. But when I launched it, I did not think, it's like, if it can help one person, I am like super happy. I did not think that people would actually tune in, because I think 95% of podcasts that make it past 2,000 downloads. And like, we're approaching that now. So it's like, I did not think that a year later I would just be flying in between London and Austin for a podcast. I did not think it was going to be my life. But I'm so glad that I hit rock bottom. And I talked about this with Sean the other day, Sean Winston. If you guys know him, he's amazing. But we need to hit rock bottom to be fed up with the lives that we're living. And like, I know there's something else for me out there. And we wouldn't think that there's something else if we truly deep down didn't believe that we're meant for. We were just like sitting on the couch, like just going back to our 9 to 5, just what I want to do. We would not have that thought. And so I had that thought, and like, I couldn't see who I could become, but I knew there was more. There was more of me, and there was more that God wanted me to do. And then I switched that from like, when I was studying a little bit better, and I switched that to like, imagine there's someone out there that's struggling with the exact same thing I'm struggling with, or that their mental health is so bad they just don't see the light. Like, how can I bring that like closer to them through the podcast, through what I've been through? And so what I felt called to do is turn my mess into my message, and everything went from there.
Yes. Oh, there's so much in there that I want to unpack. But the first thing is that stood out to me is when we are connected to meaning and purpose, our lives become bright and fulfilling. And when we're not, they're dark. And, you know, I work at a treatment center, and that's, you know, one of the biggest things that we do are help people get connected back to their meaning and purpose, right? What do you want to do? What will light you up, you know? And so that's essentially what your story did. It was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I have this meaning, and I have this drive and desire to do this thing, which then gave me purpose, right? And now you're living a life that you didn't think that.
Yeah. But also the thing with purpose, and the thing with living in your purpose, I mean, I'm still kind of like thinking about this one. But I don't think purpose is something that you create. I think purpose is something that finds you, and you find when you are creating the life that you know you're supposed to have in life. That's when purpose matters. Because if you think about it, it's like when it's to happen and or okay, so if anyone's stuck in a job they don't like or in a business they don't like, because that also is really real, or about to take a massive leap of faith and go into a new career and into a new transition, I would always recommend to first ask for themselves, to ask themselves, like, where am I creating from? Am I creating from a place of peace? Am I creating from a place of clarity, from a place of abundance, and from a place of possibility? Or am I creating from a place of fear, from a place of scarcity, from a place of like, let me see if this works, even though I want to do this thing, but I'm not sure if it's going to work. I feel like that plays a massive role into finding what you want to do in your purpose. Because if you've got your health in check, if you've got the relationship with your family in check, as I know people will have true relationships with their family, so do I, everyone does, but at least have it to pleasing and peaceful about it. If you have your friendships and struggle in check, and if then you've got your mind and your faith and whatever part you believe in check, then when you've got all of these areas in check, then that allows for you to start creating from a place of, okay, let me now explore what I would like to do. And the thing is, you want to know what your purpose is, like, fully, until you don't start creating. I did not know that podcasting would take me this far, or it's what I really want to do, because I just want to help people, right? I did not know until I was creating. And the more you create, the more you expand your mind. And literally, the more you create, the more oxytocin goes into your brain, and the more happy hormones you have, because you are creating. And so you cannot find a purpose and create the life that you want until, like, you don't really, like, sit down and be like, okay, what are some of the areas of my life that I need to stabilize first, or like have like in a much better place for me to start creating. And another thing that you said too is, I think, like, it is tricky to live in your purpose when you don't know what your purpose is. It is tricky to know what you want to do when you haven't done as many things to know what you don't like to do. I always tell this to people because I've been through that. You need to apply what is called, like, the law of contrast, right? So basically what you need to do, I talk about laws because I feel like it's universal, but what you need to do is do all the things that you feel like you're not gonna want to do and you would not like to do, because you don't get to the thing that you like until you don't go through every single thing that you don't like. Because, like, how would I have known that I would have liked podcasting and talking, speaking, and if I would have not gone through 7 years of consulting and having a business and running an agency? I'm not saying it's going to take that long, but you need to go through that phase. And I feel like that's a phase that a lot of people skip, and because it's not comfortable and it's not good and it's messy. And I always say this to people, like, if it's messy, embrace it, because the messier it gets, the closer you get to doing that. And with that being said, I also think there's something that needs to be said about purpose and income. Because when you want to chase after what you want, after your purpose, but it's not also bringing income, it doesn't mean you have to choose between your income and your purpose. You have to bridge it. It's not like, it's like black or white. It's not. You have to create that bridge that will allow you to live off your purpose, and then you will be your full power. And knowing you've got the power to get to that bridge, and that bridge is going to take however many days, months, weeks, or years, because it's not about, okay, like, I need to make money so I can then do this. Like, I've gone through that. It's about knowing yourself and knowing what are some of my strengths that I can do to bridge that gap, and then get yourself from point A to point B.
And what is your bridge? Or what has been your bridge during this process?
Yeah, I think my bridge, if I would describe it in a word, was acceptance. Acceptance on where I am and where I want to be and where I'm going. And for me, a lot of the times was like doing part-time jobs while the podcast was growing, serving in other companies by consulting them, but making sure that I was not stepping into my own boundaries.
That's a big part of this.
Yeah.
Right?
So the thing is, you will have to do things that you don't like to do for it to be your purpose and your vision. It's called like sacrifice. Even on the Bible, like a lot of people, like Jesus sacrificed himself for us. So why would I modify when I am being requested to also sacrifice stuff, right? And that's the thing where people don't understand, which is totally fine, it's totally fair, but something's gotta give. And when you're getting at the end of that bridge, where you are like, when you start to think about possibilities, which like I've gone to the other side now, but it's like, okay, how can I start monetizing my purpose? And then your mind expands to every single possibility. But when you're like, oh, maybe let me take some more time here, some more time there, you can take time, but it's going to take you longer. And I am a firm believer that the more plan Bs you have, the less fun A you will have as well.
Well, that's what you said on your last episode that really stood out to me was like, my plan, your family, your mom or someone had asked you, right? What's your plan B if this fails, right? And you're like, my plan A is my plan B, is my plan C, as I say, you know? And I was like, yes, like that, but that's like the unwavering certainty of like, this is going to work.
But you know, also why that does too, like it's science and neuroscience too, like the less options you give your brain, the more your brain is going to focus on that one single point. So if I tell you to like look at that point, like you can just see that point, right? So your brain is going to focus all the attention on that. But if I tell you like, okay, look at the point and then that point and then that point, you're going to be like, oh, okay, like which one? And so like your brain's going to be so divergent that it's not going to know where to, what levers to pull, what directions to take, what decisions to make. And so for me, it was like, when I look back in my life, I moved to London at 23. I had no plan B. I only had plan A. And my mom, so at that time, she was like, what are you going to do for work? It's like, I'm going to build my agency. But what are you going to do for work? Like, no, that's my job. And so I raised that identity, and there was no plan A. Same like with the relocation from Europe to the States that I'm going to do this upcoming year. There's no plan B. Like the plan B is still the plan A. So the more options, and I know this might sound a little bit extreme, and I would say also for people that are listening to have grace, because I am here, but it took years to get here. So people need to have some grace for some passion, but the less options you give your brain, the more your brain is going to start scanning for what could we do with what we've got, what could go right, what could go wrong. And also when you're stuck, also in a life that you know it's not your life, it feels so wrong that it cannot be right. But when you are building a life, even if financially doesn't make sense, even if people tell you not to do it because, oh my Lord, like people keep telling me every day to not do it. It feels so right that it cannot be wrong.
Literally in shows, because I believe that. I believe that so deeply. You know, it's I wanted to take the jump for a long time to like invest in myself, and like, you know, I was sharing this with a friend yesterday. I spent most of my life on the sidelines of my own life, right? And there's something in me that's like, I'm done being on the sidelines of my own life, right? And
what did it take you for you to be like, I'm done? Like, were you like really unhappy? Were you just...
I think like, well, I haven't fully made the jump yet, right? But like, what shifted in me making the decision that I was ready to invest in myself is that I had been on a journey of like rediscovering myself, loving myself, believing in myself, doing all of that transformative work, where then you find yourself in a 9 to 5 and you're like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that this is the end point, right? Like, I am made for so much more. My story, my every painful thing I've ever been through, everything I've overcome, right? It's meant for a reason, right? And it's not a 9 to 5 job, you know? And it's not about the job. Like, I love the place that I work, right? It's an amazing place. They do amazing work. But if I continue to stay in this scenario, I'm going to continue to be on the sidelines of my life and not serving my greater purpose, which is helping people overcome all of the things that I overcame, you know? So to answer your question, it's just been a journey of falling in love with myself and believing that I'm worth more, you know? I'm worth more than punching in and punching out, you know? And so
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So there's something that you said earlier about that started the question for me. What was it like? Were there moments where you were in the beginning creating from a place of scarcity because you quite literally, you know, didn't have a whole lot materialistically speaking, right? Did you ever find yourself in modes where you were creating from lack or scarcity?
Oh gosh, my whole life. My whole life has been a survival instinct. It comes from childhood, comes from a lot of things I've went through when I was a kid. But it's also the story that we tell ourselves and what we choose. And I think this is the last 6 months or last 7 months I've been creating from a place of abundance. And it kind of is counterintuitive because I was, there's obviously as far as this, but like I was thinking way more money when I was operating from survival than now I'm operating from abundance. But there's always like this it takes like 2 to 3 months for it to catch up. But yeah, I was always in survival, like since the moment I left Spain, and then I was moving to London. London is like New York, even 10 times more sometimes. It's a lot. And so also when you create from that mental state, and also the story that you keep telling yourself, because that's a very big part of rewriting the narratives that you are using to drive your life and your decisions and your beliefs, your actions. When you tell a story of there's not enough, or I'm not worth this deal, I'm not worth making this much money, I'm not worth having the life of my dreams, even though I truly believe I can have it, then you will make decisions based on that. And for me, what changed is, I think it's knowing that we are infinite beings because God created us that way, and we all carry God essence within us. So there's nothing that if God puts something in your mind, in your heart, there's nothing you cannot accomplish with that. It's there for a reason. I would say, like, for people, like, just to lean into that, because you've got a call and you've got a purpose in your life that God put it in there, and the more you don't do it, I mean, the phone will still ring. The phone will still ring. Like, if I don't pick up the phone, I probably will still ring until I pick it up. Like, alarms, right? Like, what happens if you don't? Like, you can snooze it, or maybe, like, it just stops for a second, but it always rings. So it's the same for your life and for your calling. And so the more you operate in a state where it doesn't allow for you to think clearly, and it like you're choosing to make more money because you just kind of like need to, and you're not even taking 3 days to think what it is that you want, and you're not making sacrifices to make that thing a reality, then it's when you cannot create from the life that you want, from that place, that vision. And when you've got a vision, it's going to require you to make a lot of sacrifices, but it's a vision. you still need to bring it to reality.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people go to a race with their vision in their mind and they've never really lived it.
Yeah.
It's like, what is the point to live like that?
Yeah.
There's nothing, and I really want to be clear with this, there's nothing wrong with you if you want a big life. Big life doesn't mean like the Lamborghini and like the freaking mansion. It doesn't mean that. It just means like, do you wake up every day excited to put your things out there, and also excited for all the hurdles and all the roadblocks that might come because you will overcome? Are you really excited for that and for growth, for challenge? Or are you just like living? Like,
yeah,
and it's like 80% of people live like that, and especially in America too, in the US, because it's like how a system is created. It's not created for people to be like, I'm fed up, I'm just gonna go and do my own stuff.
It's the matrix.
Exactly. So it will take, it's not about what you do to get to the other side, to get the thing that you want. It's about who you become. Because the thing that you want, you don't want the thing, you want the feeling that when you have the thing it's going to give you as the validation you're going to feel like, yes, that thing.
Yes.
So I feel like it's very important for you to just slow down for a second and base yourself in blessings. That's something that I put on a story today. Like, base yourself in blessings. Big story. I went for a walk this morning with a friend, and on the way there, we grabbed a coffee, very overpriced coffee, but a good feed.
Welcome to Austin.
Oh my goodness. And then we were running late, and I was wearing this new jacket, like cream jacket that I got. And then we were just walking like really fast, and I just spilled my coffee over my jacket. And I'm like, for a second I was like, oh my gosh, this brand new coffee stains a lot, like $70 on the window. Like, that's what I thought. But then I was just like, look around you. Where were you? You're freaking Austin. Where were you a year ago? A year ago, you were back in a freaking relationship that was not good for you. You couldn't even go home for Christmas because you were not even, your presents and people you were not even settled. You had $50 in your bank account. You were burned out from a job that you didn't like to do. Like, you spilled coffee on your $80 jacket. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But if it doesn't go away, you can either pay someone to get it out, or you can rebuy it.
Yeah.
And you're freaking another continent with something that I'm like flying from between London to Austin every 2 months. That's a lot financially, right? It was like, in what world did you imagine yourself being here? Like, bathe yourself in blessings, So I feel like that is what people need to do, is like bathe yourself in your current blessings. If you have a roof over your head, if you can like put food on your fridge every week, like every time I go grocery shop and I can fill my fridge. I don't know how to explain it to people because it sounds really like dumb.
No,
but
I get it.
It's such a feeling of like, because 18 months ago, I spent 3 days with no eating because I had no money for food. My friends had to help me with that. And now I can fill my fridge with nutritious whole foods that I myself bought through staying true to myself and what I want to do. And I feel like that's what people like don't realize. You need to bathe yourself in blessings. Are you healthy? Have you got a roof over your head? Have you got food in the fridge? Have you got a TV? A lot of people have Netflix, right? Have you got Netflix? Have you got like a laptop? Have you got friends around you? Have you got family? Yes, okay, then you can create from that space. That's enough.
Yeah.
You're not like having go to hunt every day. You're not being like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be evicted. I mean, if you're gonna be evicted, then maybe get that straight out first. But
yeah,
it's, what is there to panic about? Because like, worst case scenario, what you did doesn't work. You realize like you might have done it this way. You can go to another. You need to be willing to adjust the path, not the destination. I mean, destination is going to be your goal. But if you are willing to adjust and redirect the path, you will still get there. Maybe not as fast or not as how you imagine it to be, but you will still get there. And people don't realize that our lives are so malleable, and so is our belief and our minds and our identity, that we can make anything happen at any time.
Yeah. We get lost. That's such a good point. We get lost in it's not turning out the way that I thought it would. So then something's wrong. And it's like, no, it's just exactly what you're saying. Sometimes it looks a little bit different than the destination. I love that. I'm gonna keep that close to my heart. It's like the destination is the destination, right? But the journey might pivot and change, and you might
and you will have to pivot.
Yeah.
I feel it like times 5.
How important do you feel like nervous system regulation has been through this experience with you?
100. Yeah, I would say I'm not fully there yet. That what it was to what it is now.
Yeah.
180. I was so dysregulated every time I was doing business, and every time I was trying to put my life together. And it took 2 years to get to when I'm just like flat.
Unusual.
You know, when like the water is flat.
Yeah. What were some ways that you did that, like work on your nervous system?
Well, I'm still doing that. I have a friend, she's asked me some exercises. I don't have to do it that much these days because it's very much good. I think one of the main things is learning how to deal with uncertainty and learning and being like, I'm safe. I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. And that was a very big thing for me because, I mean, I was being after adoption when I was 5 years old, and then I was being adopted too.
Yeah, adopted too.
So nice. Anyways, keep that. Yeah, I could. Yeah. So and then my dad left, and then my parents divorced, and then my mom was like survivable for like the whole of her life. And so I had to learn how to deal with uncertainty. Another thing that I did for my system, which not a lot of people will be able to do, this was extreme. I moved out of the place that was making me in a fight or flight. Like London has been amazing. It has served me for so many years. I still have to. I'll probably be there for now 3 months while I wait for me US visa to process. But when you are doing everything you can to regulate yourself, like you are cooking nutritious foods, you are going to therapy, you're working out, you're doing all those things, but you still are in freaking fight and inside, then you really have to look at, is it me or is it the environment? Like a flower won't bloom if it's an environment that it cannot.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what I did. It's like, I know, like, it got so loud to a point, it's like, I just need to go. I just need to go. I just need to like go travel for a bit, be here, be there. Like I just know I cannot be here. And so that's what I did. And I know a lot of people might not be able to do that, but even if it's for me, I was supposed to like moving places. Like if you cannot move states or I in other countries, I understand that, but if you can move like places, just do it, because our environment, it affects us so much. And you can also craft your environment, you can, but I believe that when a cycle is done, it's done. I talk about this syndrome. It's called like Cinderella syndrome. Cinderella syndrome, it's basically like Cinderella has a crystal shoe. And so what happens? So when they go and put this shoe onto other people, what happens? Like it doesn't fit. You force it for it to fit, right? Same to do with their lives, with jobs, with people, with environments. Like you can force it all you want, it's just not going to fit.
Yes.
Then we take that shoe and we put it into a right place, into a right, oh, it fits. And it fits, and it's like effortless, and it just, wow, what just happened?
Yeah.
It's the same with our lives. It's the same with the place that we live in. It's the same with like the friendships that we choose, the jobs that we choose. Again, I say we choose because we choose that. The relationships that, like romantic relationships that we choose, it's all the same. We can, if I've learned something this year, it's like, you can truly create, like, I'm living my dream life, and I'm not even like the pinnacle goal, but like, you can truly create your dream life out of nothing, but your dream life will not fall into your lap. You will have to let go of what you should, what you think you should have done, should have, would have, to people. I had to, probably this is the year where I said the most goodbyes to a lot of people and friendships and circles. It doesn't come with, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to dream line, it's amazing. No, it comes with grief too, because you're letting go. You're letting go of like something that you thought was the, yeah, and you're also letting go of part of you. Like when you are stepping into becoming that person that you're meant to be, because we never get there, but we always are becoming. You will have to also say bye to who you've been, because the doors just doesn't fit to people. Just fits one at a time.
I actually, so Cobb Blackson, I think you would absolutely love to interview. He's incredible. Such a great story, great person. And he said that in the last clip that I posted was, you're going to have to let go of the version of you that, the version of you that you are, so that you can step into the version of you that you're becoming. Like you can't, and he took it further and further, but you can't do both. And I think that's like where I'm struggling, is I'm showing up at my job with integrity and doing my job is important to me, right? Like and this is also important to me. Like my dream is important to me. I wouldn't say necessarily the podcast is the full dream, but it's part of it. And I feel like I don't have the energetic space to give it the attention that I want. And so I feel like I'm kind of half-assing everything in my life right now.
But that's okay, because there will be a period of your life where you will have to like half-ass being in one place or in the other. But it's not that you're stuck there. Like you're becoming. It's like when a snake is shedding, there's the snake, and there's like what she's shedding, or like, like you still have the skin in you, but you're shedding it. So it's like, it's a transition. You also have places. I feel like a key point in that is how long you choose to stay in that place. And again, you're not choosing to stay in that place for long. But there will be points of that. Like that is what transition and becoming is about. It's not about fully like being that person already. It's just like embracing the transition and the journey, and having a lot of grace and compassion for who you've been, who you are, and who you're becoming. Because that's the only way that one day you'll be able to look back at it and be like, I think I did good there, And of course, you have to trajectory on both places, but knowing where you're going and what you're building, I think that give you a lot of like, okay, I'm serving these people, and then I'm gonna go into serving like my greatest version or vision of myself, but I'm still serving, right? Because if you would not do your job well, that would also not feel good,
right, exactly. So why Austin? What called you to Austin? What's the story there?
The Lord.
Yeah.
People always ask me, and I always say this, the Lord called me to Austin. People are like looking like, what?
No, I get it.
I had a friend here, Sarah, she moved here. She was in London living, and then she moved here, and then now, so I went to visit her. I've never been to the States before, but Eva always called me. I mean, and it was, I wanted to move to the States so bad. It was like, how am I going to move to the States? What visa? Like, how am I going to do it? I was not there yet. And I came to the States, and I landed in Austin for the first time. This is for the first time, 15th of July. And I remember October, I was on Pinterest and I was just doing a vision board about Austin. And then obviously, like, the Lord would put me in my heart. And then I would be like, the Lord, how? Like, I only have like £100 in my bank account. How do you want me to do that? Well, he did it. He did it. And by the time I came here, I only came here for 2 weeks and I extended for a month. And I was still paying rent a month. So it was just like a lot. And then I was like, okay, there's something awesome for me. I'm just going to go and see. And then when I landed, he's like, yeah, like, I'm meant to be here. I'm going to be here. So then when I came back 3 days later, I packed my things and I moved out of London. I moved out of the UK and I went traveling. And then I'm like, okay, like, I want to spend 6 more weeks in Austin before I fly back to Europe. And this time around, it's like, okay, like, step out in faith. Like behave as if you were living here as you will. And what happens when we, like, little side note on there, what happens when you act as the person you want to become and you act as if you already have the blessing and you are blessed because you are, your whole life and your whole nervous system and your whole brain rearranges to make that possible.
Yeah, that's manifestation. Then all of a sudden it's like when we're signaling, like, I don't know, like, I want to, but I don't know how it's gonna happen. And the universe is like, okay. But when you're like, it's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but it's happening. It's already happening. The universe is like, oh, okay, cool. And it starts moving all these people and situations.
Exactly. Yeah. For manifestation is, I feel like it's just God expressed. It's the expression of God. Like, he can make anything you want happen, but he needs you ready for that to happen.
Right. So there's really becoming is so
exactly. So it's like, can you when I created the podcast, in my mind, I was already like a top rated podcast. Whenever I say, like, I did like something like I did like this on Canada, like top 100 UK podcasts. 3 days later, the podcast was ranked in the top 100 in the UK. How? I have no idea. So when I left Austin, it's like, yeah, I think I'm going to be back here 10th of November. I had no idea how. I had no, like, 10th of November, I was landing on Austin. And a year ago, I was like, for Thanksgiving, I was like, this exact time next year, I'll be in Austin. I'll be having my first Thanksgiving. So then I said, people like, when are you moving here? Oh, end of April. Is the path clear? It's certain? No.
Yeah.
Can I see the end goal or like the finish line? No. But I know it's happening.
Yes.
It is happening. So I feel like that's also the exact same thing that people need to apply to their own lives.
Yeah.
Just, if I promise you, I had Evan Britton, he's a former NFL player. And I said to him, I always bring this episode because it truly changed something in my brain. I said to him, like, did you know you were always going to be an NFL player? He's like, I knew. I knew since when I was 8. And I slept, I ate it, I really, like, I became it. I became for the NFL player, and then I got to be in the NFL. So it's like, you have to really become that person, even when you're like, but Jenny, like, it's so easy for you. It's like, no, I've been on the exact same journey. I'm in the exact same journey. People ask me, like, oh, what are you doing? Yeah, on this day, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and like, it's done, it's happening. So you gotta become constantly and daily that person.
Yeah.
And I promise, and I can guarantee people, and I never guarantee it, but like, I can guarantee you will become that person. Like, there's no way that you would not. It just doesn't exist. And your brain rearranges you. Your whole psyche rearranges itself around that same outcome.
Yeah. You used the word delusional on your podcast recently, and it's funny. I met these women at this seminar, and their podcast is called the Lulu Magic, and that's what they talk about, right? It's like, it might look delusional to the outside world, right? My unwavering belief of like, yeah, I'm going to be here in April. Yeah, no, but that is the key, right? being delusional, like, just means I don't see the path, but I know it's going to happen.
And have a plan.
Yeah.
When we say delusional, it's not like, oh, like, let me just do be delusional. I'm like,
Right.
No, like, be delusional, yes, but have a plan.
Move your feet.
Exactly. And move from that delusion.
Yeah.
And like, start with it. Yeah. Because when you're building a life that feels bigger than the life that you've been living, which totally fair, you need to be a bit crazy. It's like one of my best friends back in London, she's like, oh, it's gonna work because I'm crazy. There's no other way it's gonna work. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
So the more you give your mind less to doubt about, the less doubt your mind will have.
Yes, which goes back to the focus state, right? It's so true. When you're thinking about all these different things, your mind goes into bilateral thinking, which then is you're thinking from fear. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, how's it gonna, and like the reality is, and Joe Dispenza says this a lot, we're connected to infinite possibility. Our minds aren't even going to be able to wrap around all the possibilities that are towards us, right? I mean, how many times have you had jobs or things or, income come your way from sources that you would have never been able to make up in your mind? Has that happened?
Yeah.
When you're like random sources of like opportunities to make income through this process just come find you, right?
You need to be open to it as well, right? The more open you it, the more you signal to God, the universe, whatever, like, I'm ready for it. Like, even if I don't know how, I will imagine, like, I'm ready. And it took me like almost 3 years to be ready to move to the States. And I know that the moment I am on a one-way plane ticket here with like 3 freaking suitcases, I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's so really scary. I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Because just to think about it, it's like, oh, I'm freaking out, but I am ready. It's fine and useful for doubt. It's just your nervous system has to adapt and really to a new level.
Yeah.
Because it's like our nervous system's like a thermostat. If we get it, like, if we turn off the heater and it's just gonna like spike. We're like, oh my god, this will like, it works the same as exposure therapy. It's like you just go one temperature, then another, you go to 60s, then you go to 70s, and you regulate your way to 80s, and you regulate the 90s. So it's like a step. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to freak out and that's why you should not do it. No, that's why you should do it.
Yeah.
And even better, because then you will have like a whole new world will open out to you, because instead of like seeing obstacles, you will see opportunities, and you will be like, okay, this. And then you will build even more resilience, and you will build and achieve whatever you want faster, because you can now spot, okay, what opportunities like here.
Yeah.
Instead of like spotting like, oh, like, what do I like? This. We can only have either lack or expansion. We cannot have both. And that's something that takes daily work. I'm still working on that. It's like, like, abundance, you know? And then when you see that, it's like, okay, like, what can I create to have more abundance in my life? Like, to have this fall wants me to know if I move here, will I trust myself that if it doesn't work out, I can redirect? Because that's also like another big part is whenever we are trying to build a big life or dream line, we need to trust ourselves, and that also includes trusting ourselves, even if we screw up, and trust that we can redirect.
Yeah. How do you feel like, and I think that's so cool, I mean, honestly, not surprised at this point that you were adopted too. And I'll just speak from my own experience. So being someone who was adopted, even though it's not this like super conscious thing, I think there inevitably is this deep wound of rejection.
Oh yeah, in yourselves. Yeah.
Right. In yourselves, right? I mean, it's like you're in a womb of someone who is already like disconnected from you. They're going to give you, you know what I mean? That was my situation.
Yeah.
how do you feel like that has shown up through this process of like putting yourself out there? And, you know, tell me about how you've navigated like potential feelings of rejection.
I've never been asked about it.
Yeah.
I think were you adopted when you were a baby? Or yeah, I was adopted. I was after adopted when I was 5 months old, and I was adopted when I was 2. I think we never fully come to an understanding of what adoption really means in our life and in our nervous system, in our psyche, until we reach mid to late 20s. Like that was for me. Yeah, because before I would just go, like when I was in high school, just people were like, "Oh, your dad?" I was like, "Yeah, my dad doesn't hate it," and I was screaming from the rooftop. Oh, I was like, "Yeah, totally, I love my family. I have a great family." Yeah, which obviously like we are so grateful and you know, to have like a second chance of life, because I can tell I would not be here if it wouldn't be for my family. But it only hits you later of like, oh, like I am adopted, and all these wounds of rejection come from there. And then also, if like for example, for me, like my parents divorced, my dad left, and then my mom was so much not available. It's like doubt rejection. So rejection is like constant in your life, and until you do not work on it, it will drive your life. Because for me, it drove my life. Like whenever someone would say no, a deal would not go through. When I would be rejected, I know someone I was dating, is like, oh my gosh. I think for me, I've done a lot of therapy. I've done a lot of like different stuff. For me, it was coming to Jesus, because he does not reject me. He's always there. He always loves me. I don't think like if it would not have been for God himself and for the love of Jesus that it never wavers and is always there, I don't know how I would have done it. I don't think I would have been fully able to recover from that. And yeah, it's a very deep one, but like I feel like for me also what helps is like find evidence of that people can stay and that things can stay as well. Because like for me, like being adopted, and obviously now it's like we want stability and certainty, but when we have it, we self-sabotage it, and we're just like, no, let me just move now. Let me not stay like put here now, because like I need. And for me, like being able to be like being stable in when it comes to like my mind and who I am, like, you know, like what we talked about our system, it is important, but also knowing that we're always loved and that what happened to us, it's for a greater good, and there's always something bigger out there, and that our parents, both biological and psychological and adoptive, they all both did the best they could, even if the best they could was mistreat you or hate you, or they were so hard that hurt people hurt. So I feel like for me, coming to terms with, oh, my mom gave me after adoption because she didn't want me, it's like, no, like she could not do it. She didn't know any better, and she just couldn't, you know. So I feel like that really helped.
Yeah, and because I've done so much work around it too, and it's like the truth actually is that she cared so much that she didn't want to give you. She wanted to give you a better life, right? So she decided to give you away because she knew she couldn't do that for you. You know. So it's like, how do you want to look at it? Do you want to look at the poor baby that, you know, someone didn't want, or do you want to look at it as they cared so much they knew someone else could do better for me, you know? So yeah, I love that. Yeah, the rejection was interesting because I'll tell you, like, it's super sneaky. I've done a lot of work. I've been sober for 10 years. I've done a lot of like self-reflection, examination. Like I'm in a program, you know, and so like I've been doing this work for a really long time. And so the way that rejection shows up now for me, the wound is like when I got ready to launch the podcast and then I had to start promoting myself, it was like, I almost had a freak out on my couch. I was like, like I'm not doing this, because I did not want to have the potential risk of someone being like, ew, what are you doing? or like, oh, you know, or
sometimes you also want it, right? It's like, it's not here of like, I don't want to be visible, but sometimes I really want it.
Yes. I want to be okay with, and so that's what, going down to the root of the rejection. If there's no room for me to reject me, then you can't, right? The rejection, when there's a part of me that feels like whatever it is that you're saying is true, then the rejection can really hurt me. But if I am like, you can't reject me because I am complete and whole and worthy as God's baby, and I believe that, then you can't actually reject me.
And I also, something that needs to be pointed out there is, we are not scared of our limits. Because we know our limits. We are scared of our power. Because we don't know how powerful we are.
Yes, girl, that's it. 100%. I literally had this conversation last night with my friend Josh, who's talking about this, like on the same path with me. And that is what we were saying, was like, no, we're really scared of our power because we are powerful beyond measure. We're connected to source, God, infinite source. You know, we're extensions of God walking around on this planet. Do you think, I said this recently, do you think God would, like, if I'm an extension of source energy, right? Do you think God, if he was in human form walking around on this planet, he'd be like, I wish I was prettier. I wish I was skinnier. I wish I had this. No, he'd be walking with purpose, you know, and empowered. And so that's what I try to like remember whenever I like, when I have like insecurity come up, it's like, no, God would not be doing that. You know, he would not be worrying about how I'm going to get the next bill paid, or like how I'm going to, when I make the jump to live in my dream, how it's going to work out. He'd be like, it just is, you know?
Yeah. It might take 2 to 3 months to fully adapt to it.
Totally.
Because you are, like, one of your foundations is not going to be there, but you are the foundation. You are now building that. And you have more control how you spend your time, what you do, what you build, the people you serve, how you earn money, how you... And that's also what we talked off camera that I asked you about. For anyone that's, like, looking to, like, take the lead, always make sure, because I did it, right? But, like, always make sure that you've got 3 to 6 months of runway. Because then you're not going to be afraid from scarcity or it's like, oh my gosh, I need to take this one. So I go and take one from everyone. You can like, okay, I've got, and obviously like always be making sure of income already, but like, it's like, okay, go like, or move. And I think that people say like, move to your parents' place or move to from places, let's just stay there for a month or two. Try to raise, if you don't have that runway, rent, because it's like the biggest hurdle for as long as you can. If you can do that, just make sure you have runway and allow yourself to build around that uncertainty, and then it will become really normal. I haven't had a 9-to-5 job in like 8 years. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot of like, oh, now I cannot pay taxes because I didn't put money aside for it. I cannot do this because of this. But it's like, but everything allowed me to do what I am doing. Like my mom always she said this once, and I would never forget it. Like I was in college, like almost finishing college, and I got made redundant, which is never happened, but I had a lot of anxiety in that job. And then I just called my mom crying. It's like, Mom, oh my gosh, they fired me. She's like, good. And then you have your full last year of college to actually go to college and enjoy college and just not work your ass off. It's like, and she was like, you're not a good employee, Jenny. You're going to be an amazing employer at whatever you want to do, but you're not a good employee. I love that. And so I'm good at building or like doing the creative and probably like leading the team more than I am like part of the team. Like as in like, you know, and I try this structure, it doesn't work for me. So that would be another thing that I would say to people, to make sure you've got a plan. Like don't go without a plan, especially if you've got kids or you're married and you have a mortgage, then the conversation changes, but make sure you've got a plan, you know?
Yeah. So if you could go back and tell your younger self whatever she needed to know to move through this journey of life, what would you tell her?
It's gonna be okay. You will be okay. Through freaking nightmares and things, there's always a miracle. You are the miracle itself. You're gonna be fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. I am so looking forward to you moving to Austin.
Oh my gosh, I am so looking forward to it. Just a few more months, but God willing, yeah.
We are gonna go walk the trail.
Oh my gosh.
I will be but anytime, girl. And I also want to pick your brain at some point about strategy, because that's something I don't.
That's what I do.
Know much about, you know. I don't. I mean, I'm just like a baby. I'll say this real quick too. Like, so I had permanently deleted all my social media accounts a year ago, and then this whole podcast thing like kind of fell in my lap. So I had to start from ground zero.
You can build faster if you start from ground zero. That also nothing for people. Even if you start from scratch, I started my life from scratch twice. I'm turning 30 next year, so it's also like it brings some perspective. Sometimes it's better to start from scratch and build. Like when you sometimes it's better to like break all the bricks and start building from scratch from a stronger foundation, then start building from like shaky foundation, because it's gonna fall.
Yeah.
So for everyone that feels like they're starting from scratch or like they're too old, like whatever, it's like you're not. It's just lay down the foundation of the first bricks. Make sure that is freaking strong. Meaning your mindset, your identity, your environment, your relationships, your friendships, your health, your relationship with yourself is freaking strong. Those are like the first freaking bricks you need to build. And then the rest will just like, it will not crumble if you've got. So the foundation now is like, God is my everything, like solid foundation, and then you will be able to start building from that belief. And whatever happens that you would not expect, because yes, it will hit the fan, you will be fine. Like you will be fine. The only thing that we've got is death at some point. Then obviously, then we're done over. But you will be,
Thank you so much. Will you please tell everybody where we can find you, and I'll make sure and link it all below.
Yeah, so I have my show, Has a Feedback Podcast. You can link them to Spotify. My social media is Jenny Core with 2 I's, because my name was taken, on Instagram. So I feel like people will be able to find me there.
Yeah, I'll make sure and link it below. I could seriously talk to you forever, but I want to respect your time too. Thank you for coming once again, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future.
Thanks for having me. Yes.
May the cord that binds us to one another and to Source remind you that you are never alone, always guided, and always home. Until next time.